What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today, I'm really excited to bring you my top pocket knives of the week, talk a little bit about them, why they were in the pocket, and what I'm enjoying about them. Let's get into it. So on Monday, I went with another Micarta Monday theme, but I brought out an old friend that I hadn't carried in a little while, and that is the Savivi Conspirator. Now this one here is a little bit unique because I did do a recent OD green budget build where I went through Amazon with you all and kind of shopped for the knife, and I picked this one up and it had the blacked out blade. I already owned the blacked out Micarta with the stonewash blade, so what I ended up doing was swapping the stonewash acid etch blade to the green micarta scales, and I sold the all blacked out one to someone that wanted the all blacked out version of the Conspirator. But to the knife itself, the micarta on here is really well done. I have not done a force patina on this. I decided I'm going to let this one kind of naturally patina on its own, but I did go ahead and pick up the aftermarket titanium scales that Savivi now offers for their knives, so I could put that on here because I think it just kind of makes it look a little bit cleaner overall and ergonomically better than the clip that it comes with, and a little tiny bit better than the banter clip that I had on here, which was a flat laying scale, really improving the ergos. Still one of my favorite budget button lock knives out there, even with everything else that has come out. The Conspirator is a very easy knife to recommend. It comes with the Nitro V steel. As you can see here, mine gets plenty of use, and man, it has really impressed me with how well it holds an edge. Very fidgety. Now it does have a bigger, heavier blade with a smaller button on it, so it does feel like it has a light detent, but I did the spine whack test on this. Holds really well. No issues whatsoever. Goes in and out of the pocket nicely with this pocket clip. No issues whatsoever. It does leave a little bit of the knife exposed, but for me, I kind of like that. It's something to grab onto. The micarta feels grippy. I do wish that they would have knocked this down a little bit more. I think it would have made access to the fuller a little bit nicer for me, but honestly, it's not that big of a factor to get down into it to deploy it. Now I do have a little bit of an issue because I end up kind of pinching my finger when I try to do the thumb flick, so I end up just doing a reverse flick and I end up doing the flipper tab instead. I believe on this one, I'm not sure, I can't even remember. I think I installed skiffs on this, but I'm not 100% sure. This one, it's locked up solid. So was the black one that this blade came off of. Just a really great knife. Really well done. I really like that one a lot. Barely fitting on the screen. That is definitely a fuller sized knife. For Tuesday, I went with the Titanium Tuesday carry, and I had the Kunwu Pulsar in the pocket. I have the titanium with the diamond frag texture on it. I really like that texturing on that back spacer as well. I'm probably going to take the Savivi pocket clip because it looks like it would fit, but because this is inset a little bit, it does need a little bit of chamfering to go around, but I think the pocket clip will still stand up enough to actually function the way that I like. This one functions well. My only complaint is it does kind of poke a little bit in hand, and some of the time I think I shouldn't really mess with it, but what I worry about is when this is in the pocket, that's kind of sticking out far. I worry about that catching on stuff, which is why I was thinking or debating on the pocket clip from the Savivi. Now I did have the original springs on here. I put the stiff springs on and I did not like the way that it made the knife behave as far as the action, and I went back to the factory springs. And actually I think the factory springs, with the size of the blade and how thin and lightweight the blade is, actually works better than it does with the stiff springs. I think the stiff springs kind of make it to where you have to forcefully deploy it and you have to forcefully swing it down to close it. What I was finding with it is if you were hitting it and you weren't getting it with enough force, it was kind of stopping. It wasn't going all the way open. And then on the close, it was kind of getting hung up on this part here where it overcomes the lock bar access against the spine of the blade to close. So I really think it's much smoother with the factory springs, and you can always take the factory springs and stretch them out gently just a little bit to give a little bit more detent on here, but I think it's perfect with the factory springs that it comes with, not with the stronger springs. Thumb hole works pretty good. I wish it had just a tiny bit more bite, because it does feel like sometimes I slip a little bit and I can't quite catch it. So I got to kind of push into the thumb hole, opening hole, in order to get it to thumb flick. Reverse flick, it seems to catch the back of the finger with no issues whatsoever. I find I land right about there and it really fires. And then of course you can just flip it over with the wrist. Really like the way that they do their crossbar lock landing pads, but I dislike how involved it is to take it apart. So you have to remove this bolt, take the top off, remove everything from the scales, including the pivot, and then separate it. I think it would benefit for some D-shaped pivots here on the spacers, and I think it would benefit from like a D-shape end on the actual crossbar lock, so that it was kind of going into a slotted space here. I think that keeping it in place and from moving around too much would benefit as far as disassembly and ease of maintenance. It is a real challenge to remove the blade and put the blade back in with this crossbar lock. I struggled with it a little bit in the disassembly video, which will be coming. Let's talk about the blade. Elmax steel. I think this is my third Elmax steel blade. I just started getting Elmax towards the end of last year, and I'm really enjoying the steel a lot. I don't have a ton of experience with it, but so far it is really holding a good edge. I don't have any issues with stuff staining in my storage, and I'm cutting some fruits and stuff like that, but I wash the blade off when I'm done anyway, just because I want it clean. So I have not had any issues with it, but it is performing really well. Push cuts are a joy. Doesn't seem like it wants to slide out on me. It's really easy to control, and I think that's because that forward finger choil gets you up so close to the blade's edge, you have good control. From utility cuts, nice pinch grip. Getting into the packages, any type of draw cuts, anything like that, this thing works really good. It has a nice drop tip to a low point to where you can get to it very, very easily. Nice touches here with the jimping and then the crown spined on the back. Really beautiful look aesthetically to the knife. Just a great knife. The review, if it's not out, should be coming. I've kind of lost track of the videos that I have out there, but really great knife. Wednesday, Wharncliffe Wednesday, I went with the Wee Roxy 3. I love this knife. I carry this a ton. S35VM with a flat grind, great edge on it. Super comfortable to hold. It has a really nice forward finger choil here to where you can choke up and get nice control. Good pinch grip for utility and draw cuts on this one as well. Ergonomically, it's nice because it's thicker. So even though it's a smaller knife, it offers a lot to grip onto, and I really like that about this one. Fantastic pocket clip on this one. Goes in and out of the pocket nicely. Doesn't snag or catch on anything because it's so far away from the relief cut. Great job on the finishes here. I probably need to clean it up. I was using it a little bit Wednesday, and I think I forgot to wipe it down some to get into some packages, and I think I broke the boxes down while I had them. Great access to the lock bar. Really nice lockup. Smooth action. Typical from what you find from Wii for me is that it's got that glassy smooth action, and it's not a guillotine, not fall shut, and it really wouldn't be on this one because the blade is so lightweight and the knife itself is pretty lightweight considering it's all titanium. But just a great looking knife. Really surprises me how much I continue to enjoy the Roxy 3 for a smaller knife. It's really functionally an awesome EDC. Thursday, I went with a thumb stud Thursday, and I carried my Demco AD20S. Really like this one. It's such a great knife. Ergonomically, it is super comfortable, and these scales from Original Goat are super well chamfered all around the edges here. This texturing here adds grip without it being super rough or sandy, so it goes in and out of the pocket really nice. I like this super deep carry Lynch Northwest deep carry pocket clip. It goes all the way to the very end of the knife. The knife is tucked away nicely in there. For me, with the larger hands, I have found that this one, as I whiff, is really easy to actuate. And you just really, with these locks, these shark locks, you just really want to, you know, intentionally deploy it because it will fire. I mean, I really like that opening hole. I like to come in at an angle and just flip it out, and same with the thumb stud. And of course you got that shark lock that you can just open and close it with one-handed all day long with this one. Super smooth on the skiffs, and I really love the way that these frag These scales have made the knife look just a tiny bit of color here with the blue on the pocket clip, but I think it's just such a great looking knife, and it's a great size. It's a great power cutter. If I have a bunch of boxes, like if I let it get behind and I need to break a bunch down, or a big box, we had a bed frame come in recently and I had to do the big box, and I grabbed this and was going to town with it. It's such a great knife, especially for hard use, heavy use. And it still carries in the pocket nicely. It's not too big, just slightly bigger than my Shaman and around the same size as the Nkosi, just a little bit more girth there. Friday, I went with a carbon fiber Friday carry, and I brought out the Demco AD 20.5. I had so much fun carrying the 20S on Thursday that I figured I would go ahead and carry its little brother, and it'd be fun to see the two of them on the camera together. This one here is a much slender profile, probably a better size overall for everyday carry. Has one heck of a support for the aftermarket for scales on this. These were made by Carbodize to fit the new pivot collar, because I did grab the S35VN, almost said 45, S35VN variant, and I got BGM to do this sexy regrind on here. The hollow grind is on, that's on here is awesome, and you got a swedge out on the tip as well to match that grind. I think it looks really good. This thing is so slicey now, it is ridiculous. Great jimping, great ergos, chokes up nicely for being that medium-sized EDC knife, just like what I mentioned on the Roxy 3 earlier. Very comfortable in hand. I think these camo carbon scales, these are the 80s pattern, look really good. I did go ahead and do a mineral oil treatment on them to get just a little bit of shine to them and to keep them in good shape, and I'll do that every 6 months or so, just hit it a little bit more so that it stays nice and shiny, and it'll also make sure that the fibers are in good condition and last a long time. I did have, this was the pocket clip I had on the all blacked out one that was blue. I stripped it down and re-anodized it this green just to kind of accent the lighter greens that are in here. I think it looks really good against that. I know it doesn't match, but it would be impossible to anodize that to match it, but I think it just draws the greens out on this side, and then you got more red on this side. Just a great knife, awesome lock. Even better slicers since I got BGM to regrind it. I've kicked the ideas on doing it on the 20S, but I feel like that's more heavy duty, hard use. It's meant to be something that you can take across tougher materials, and I feel like the 20S or 20.5, sorry, is actually the slicer, the smaller knife that's meant for those EDC tasks that are going to be more slicey. So I really haven't messed with it because of that, but I've been tempted because I like this one so much, but I think I'd rather leave that as is because they kind of are filling two different purposes in my inventory. That's it, everything I carried this week. A lot of people you've seen out here before, a couple of updates here to some knives you haven't seen in a little while, or have seen a bunch of, but the updated version of it, and then the Pulsar being something new to get into the pocket this week. Man, this is just a great size, just like I mentioned with the Wii, but this is going to be a little bit bigger, but it's going to have that dedicated finger choil, and the ergos are really good for the size of that knife, and I like carrying extra gear, so that works great for me. What have you been carrying that you really enjoy lately? We've had some new stuff come out. I've seen some stuff on folks' Instagram that are very interesting. Talk to me about what you got in the pocket that you really are enjoying, or that you're looking forward to getting that's on its way to you down in the comment below. I'd love to hear that. Thanks to everyone out there that regularly leaves those likes. Thanks for supporting by leaving the comments as well. I appreciate your subscription. Thank you all so much. I hope all of you have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace.